Ah, I see that look in your eyes. Yes, something is different tonight, isn't it? You've grown accustomed to how these old vocal cords usually sound, and now you're wondering if perhaps the fire smoke has affected your hearing. Fear not, faithful friend. The chronicler remains the same. It's merely that I am, how shall I put this, more than any single voice can contain. Tonight, you hear another facet of my being, another echo from the countless tales I've absorbed over the centuries. You see, when one collects stories for as long as I have, when one carries the voices of 1,000 heroes and villains, bards and sages, well, sometimes those voices need to be heard. Tonight, one of them speaks through me. So, sit easy, dear listener. The fire burns the same, the stories remain as true, and your welcome here is as warm as ever. Now, shall we begin tonight's tale of the Whispering Coins? The merchant's quarter of Baldur's Gate hummed with its usual evening bustle, but tonight something felt different. Sarah Goldweaver had been counting coins for 30 years, and she knew the sound of honest gold from the ring of fool's brass. Yet, the coins that had been appearing in her strongbox over the past week made no sound at all. She held one up to the flickering candlelight, watching how the flame seemed to bend around its edges rather than reflect off its surface. The coin bore no mint mark she recognized. Instead, a 5-headed dragon coiled itself in an endless spiral, its eyes seeming to track her movement. Another one, she whispered to herself, adding it to the growing pile of silent gold. The silence was what troubled her most. Good gold sang when it struck stone, rang like a bell when dropped on wood, whispered secrets of the mines where it was born. But these coins swallowed sound like a grave swallows light. She'd tried every test she knew, the touch test, the bite test, even the acid test her father had taught her 40 years ago. By every measure, they were pure gold, purer than pure, in fact, as if they'd been refined beyond the natural world's ability to create. What Sarah didn't know was that these coins were appearing in merchant strongboxes across the Sword Coast. From Waterdeep to Neverwinter, from Daggerford to Elturel, the same silent gold was spreading like a plague of prosperity. Each coin bore the mark of Tiamat, and each one whispered its own secret language to those who knew how to listen. In Waterdeep, merchant prince Davo Hillhunter had noticed them first. 10 coins, then 20, then 100. His vault had never been richer, yet he found himself unable to sleep, drawn to count and recount his mysterious windfall. His wife had begun to worry when she caught him talking to the coins late at night, his voice taking on the cadence of ancient prayers in languages she didn't recognize. In Neverwinter, the halfling trader Pip Greenhill had started having dreams of vast underground chambers filled with treasure beyond imagining, of voices calling to her from the depths of the earth. She'd wake with the taste of sulfur in her mouth and the overwhelming urge to travel south, though she couldn't say why. And in Elturel, the elderly merchant Gavros Lightbringer had begun to change. His friends noticed it first, how his eyes had taken on a golden sheen, how his shadow seemed to move independently of his body, how he'd started speaking of the great work that was coming. The coins in his possession had multiplied somehow, breeding like living things in the darkness of his vault. But the most disturbing case of all was in Daggerford, where the merchant Cordelia Ravenwood had stopped aging. The coins had appeared in her strongbox a month ago, and with each passing day, she looked younger, more vital. Her gray hair had returned to its youthful auburn, her wrinkles had smoothed, her bent back had straightened. She felt more alive than she had in decades. But at night, when she thought no one was watching, she would spread the coins across her floor and arrange them in patterns that hurt to look at directly. In the shadows of the Cult of the Dragon's hidden sanctuaries, hooded figures smiled as they watched their scrying pools. The plan was working perfectly. Gold was the one language every merchant spoke, and greed was the door that opened every heart. Each coin was a seed planted in fertile soil, waiting for the right moment to bloom into something far more dangerous than mere wealth. The coins were not just gold, they were condensed dragon magic, each one a tiny fragment of Tiamat's essence released into the world. They sought out the greedy, the ambitious, the desperate, and they whispered promises of power beyond imagination. All they asked in return was faith, devotion, and when the time came, service. But tonight, in a small inn called the Prancing Pony, a different kind of listener sat in the corner, nursing a tankard of ale. Finn Shortcloak had been tracking these coins for weeks, following whispers and rumors from tavern to tavern. He'd seen what happened to the merchants who grew too fond of their silent gold, how their eyes began to reflect that same five-headed spiral, how they started speaking in languages that hadn't been heard since the dawn of dragonkind. Finn had been investigating the Cult of the Dragon for 3 years, ever since they'd burned his village and taken his sister. He learned to recognize their work, their methods, their madness. The coins were just the latest scheme, but perhaps the most insidious. Instead of converting people through fear and violence, they were buying souls with greed and ambition. As Sarah counted her mysterious wealth 3 streets away, Finn pulled out his own collection of the cursed coins. Unlike the others, his had been blessed by a priest of Torm, their whispers silenced by holy magic. But, even silenced, they still felt warm to the touch, warm with the breath of something ancient and terrible. He'd been collecting them everywhere he went, removing them from circulation wherever possible. But, for every coin he found, 10 more appeared. It was like trying to empty the ocean with a teaspoon.
The question isn't where they're coming from,
he muttered into his ale.
The question is where they're leading us.
The answer came in the form of a woman who slipped into the inn as silent as a shadow. She was tall, pale, with eyes the color of old gold, and hair that seemed to absorb light rather than reflect it. She moved with the fluid grace of someone who had never known doubt, never feared consequence. "Finn Shortcloak," she said, sliding into the seat across from him. "I've been looking for you."
Have you now?
Finn kept his voice casual, but his hand moved to the blessed dagger at his belt.
And who might you be?
"Someone who shares your interest in certain monetary curiosities." She placed a single coin on the table between them. It was different from the others, larger, older, with a dragon's head that seemed to turn to follow his gaze. "My name is Iray, and I have a proposition for you." Finn studied her carefully. Everything about her screamed danger, from her too perfect features to the way shadows seemed to bend around her like living things. But she also radiated knowledge, and knowledge was what he needed most.
I'm listening.
"The coins are not the end goal, Mr. Shortcloak. They're the beginning. Each one is a beacon, calling to something that lies sleeping beneath the Sword Coast, something that has been waiting for centuries to wake up.
Tiamat.
Finn said quietly. Iray smiled, and her teeth were very white and very sharp. The Queen of Dragons stirs in her prison, and her children have been preparing the world for her return. The coins are just the first step. Soon, very soon, the faithful will be called home, and the great work will begin.
And you're telling me this because
I want you to stop it. Her words hung in the air like a challenge. You see, Mr. Shortcloak, there are those among the cult who believe the old ways are best, who think that Tiamat should be freed through conquest and bloodshed, not through the slow corruption of mortal greed. I represent a different faction. Finn studied the coin she'd placed on the table. Unlike the others, this one felt cold, empty, as if all the warmth had been drained from it.
what do you want from me?
I want you to follow the coins to their source. I want you to find the place where they're being made, and I want you to destroy it. Do that, and you'll save countless souls from corruption. Refuse, and watch as the entire Sword Coast bows before the Dragon Queen. The answer would come sooner than he thought, for in the deepest vaults of the Cult of the Dragon, the collected greed of 1,000 merchants was being transformed into something far more dangerous than gold. It was becoming a key to unlock the prison that held the queen of all chromatic dragons. And tomorrow, when the sun rose over the Sword Coast, the real treasure hunt would begin. But this time, the treasure they sought could destroy the world. And so, this tale draws to a close. Though its echoes may linger in your dreams, the fire burns lower now. But don't despair, I've countless more stories waiting to be shared with you. If this tale stirred something within you, if it reminded you why magic still matters in this mundane world, then please, light your own beacon. That glowing thumbs up tells the spirits of story that our fellowship grows stronger. Subscribe to join our circle permanently and ring that notification bell. That way, you'll know the moment I return with new chronicles. The fire burns brightest when more souls gather around it. Wouldn't you agree? Now, if that's the case, share this tale with another weary soul who needs it, reminding them adventure still exists. Tag a friend who would appreciate a good story by the fire. The more who believe, the more real these worlds become. And if you are new to our hearth, explore the playlist of chronicles that I've gathered. Tales of heroes and villains, love and loss, magic and mystery. Each one carefully chosen for souls like yours. Until the fire calls us together again, may your own adventures be worthy of legend, and may you never lose the wonder that brought you here tonight. Travel or sleep well, brave soul. The long rest awaits your return.